Hello everyone, this is John Galt speaking, here with a tutorial series for you guys where I'm going to go through the process of making some multiplayer third-person shooter mechanics. I've been working in the Unreal Engine since about 2014, and I get a lot of questions about how it is that I do multiplayer in Blueprints. And so in this series, what I plan on doing is trying to break down step by step part of the process of creating a third person shooter for multiplayer. I don't know exactly what all will be covered in this tutorial series, but there'll be quite a bit of information that you guys will probably find pretty useful in the creation of a multiplayer third person shooter. So this project here, I'm using the most current version at the time of the recording of this series, which is Unreal Engine 5.1. This is a blank project, and let me just show you guys what all I've done. So I created a map here, and I put in 6 default player starts. And of course, I made a folder here called Maps with this map in it. It's Multiplayer Test Map 01. I have 2 textures in here. One is the default crosshair texture from the first person shooter example, and the other is a texture that I found online for a scope. We'll probably be implementing a scope later on in this series. I also put in the level prototyping assets that come in the default third person example that Epic provides. And for the characters, I have put in the new mannequin that comes with Unreal Engine 5, the male and the female. I've got all their textures in here, all their materials. The animations that I have put in here on these characters are the animation starter pack animations. And some of these I've modified a little bit. But you guys feel free to use any animations that you want. It's not really specific which animations you use. You could use Paragon animations. You could use some animations that you have purchased from the marketplace. Any animations. I just choose to use these free ones that Epic provides because they're good to use as an example. And then I created some aim offsets here for the pistol and the rifle hip and the aim down sights. Okay. And so I guess we can go ahead and get started here. So obviously, when we hit the play button here, we spawn in as a spectator pawn, right? So we don't even have a pawn yet. So we're literally going to be going from ground zero here. So some of this stuff may be a little bit redundant for some of you guys. But I think if we're going to do this, we should start from ground zero, and then we'll just build onto it as we go through this series. And once again, I don't know how many videos there will be, but there'll be quite a bit. Okay, so once again, it's going to be done kind of in a frequently asked questions style. So obviously, the question right now would be, so how do we create a third person character that can move around? Right? So obviously that's the first thing that you have to have. So in this characters folder, I'm going to create a new folder in here, and I'm going to call it Blueprints. And inside this, we're going to right click and we're going to create a new blueprint class. And this is going to be for a character. And we will call this BP underscore character underscore master. And we're going to go ahead and open this up, and we will start constructing our third person character. So we're going to need what's known as a spring arm. So we're going to go up here and hit this add button, and we're going to type spring, and we're going to add a spring arm. And I'm going to change the name of this to camera boom. And with the camera boom selected, I'm going to add another component, and it's going to be a camera. Okay, and we will call this follow cam, just like so. And then obviously we're going to need a mesh. So we're going to select this mesh here, and we're going to be adding the, well, it doesn't matter what character you use, but in this case, we're just going to add the SKM Manny. And we're going to set the location here to -90 in the Z. And we're going to set the rotation to -90 so that he's facing down the x-axis. And if you look here in the lower left-hand corner, this shows you your direction here. Okay. And so we'll go ahead and compile that and save this. Now, the next thing we need is a game mode. Okay. And the game mode is what tells the game what to spawn into the world. Okay. And so currently we don't have any. So we're going to select this content folder. We're going to add another new folder, and we're simply going to call this one Blueprints again. And we'll use this to put all of our, I guess you would call them system blueprints in. Okay. So we're going to right click. We're going to create another blueprint class. And this is going to be a game mode base. So we're going to select that, and we're going to call this GM, which stands for game mode. And I name this whatever I've named my project. Okay, so we're going to call this MP for multiplayer, TPS _ FAQ for frequently asked questions. And then we're going to go ahead and open this up. And inside here, over here under the classes, this is where you get to dictate what blueprints your character and stuff use, your game uses. Let's call it that. And so for the default pawn class, we're going to go ahead and hit this drop down, and we're going to put in that blueprint that we created called BP Character Master. And we will compile this and save it. And when you have your level open, your map over here under the world settings, you can put what your game mode override is. And in this case, this is going to be that new game mode that we created. And currently all it's going to do is tell it what character to spawn. So we'll go ahead and save this, and we will hit the play button. And now you can see that we spawned in as that character that we just created, that character blueprint. Now, obviously, we can't move around or anything. So that is going to be the next part of this example here, this tutorial. So in order to get this character to move around, we need to open the character blueprint, and we can go ahead and delete all this. We don't need that at this moment. So we're going to have to add some controller buttons, right? So I do this for the keyboard and mouse. You guys can feel free to set this up for keyboard and mouse, or you can use a gamepad or whatever it is that you want to do. But I strictly operate on the PC. So we're only going to be doing controls for the PC. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and close that. We're going to come up here and hit this edit button, and we're going to go into project settings, and in the input section here, down here, right where I'm pointing here, we're going to add an action map. Okay. And this is going to be jump. And after you type in the name you want to name it, you then get to define the key. And in this case, we're going to put in the keyboard space bar. And we need 4 axis maps. So we're going to add 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to click that button 4 times. This first one is going to be called Move Forward And we're going to hit this plus sign because we need two. We need one to go forward and we need one to go backwards. Okay, so the forward is going to be the keyboard W key. And the backward, we need to change the scale here to -1. Right, so +1 will be forward, -1 will be backward. And this is going to be the keyboard S key. So we will select that. And this one, this new axis map is going to be move right. And this one will also need two. So we're going to hit this plus sign here. And for right, that is going to be the D on the keyboard. And we need to change this scale to -1. And this will be the A key on the keyboard. Okay. This one is going to be called look up. And let's go ahead and change this to -1, because if we don't do this, it's going to be like flying an airplane. You push up and it looks down, and you push down and it looks up. So go ahead and put this to -1. And this is going to be the, I always get these confused, guys, so you'll have to forgive me here. I have a little bit of dyslexia. So this is going to be the mouse Y. I believe it's the mouse Y. Okay. And if it's backwards, we'll just come back and change it. Okay. So this next one is going to be turn. And this will be the mouse X, I think. Could be backwards. We'll find out here shortly. Okay. So let's go ahead and close this. And then when we open back up our character blueprint, right here in the event graph, we can right click and type move forward. And you see how we have this axis event that is reading that we created in the project settings. So we have move forward. We're going to go ahead and right click and also get the move right axis event. Okay. Now to get this character to move, we right click here and type control rotation. And there is a function here under the pawn section called get control rotation. Okay. Then we're going to split this. We're going to split the struck pin. Then we're going to right click a blank spot and type make rotator. And all we need is the Z. We don't need the roll or the pitch. We just need the Z. Then we're going to pull out of this and type get forward vector. And we're also going to need to pull out of this and type get right vector. Then we're going to right click a blank spot and type add movement input. Okay. So from the move forward execution pin, we're going to plug this in here. The axis value, we're going to plug that in the scale. And for the world direction, this is going to be the forward vector. Then we can select that and hit the Control D key to duplicate this. And we will plug this execution pin in. And this is going to be the right vector for the world direction. And this will be the scale. And we will go ahead and compile this and save it. Now let's spawn in here and see if we can do the WASD, right? So we don't have a mouse yet, so we can't move the mouse. But if we press W, we go forward. Press S, we go backward. Press A, we go left. And D, and we go right. Okay? So now we need to just go back in here and add the rest of these. So we created one for look up. So we need the axis event for look up. And we also need the axis event for turn that we created. So let's go up here to the axis event for turn. These are a little bit easier because these, all we need to do, so look up, that is pitch, right? So we right click here and type add pitch, add controller pitch, and we will plug this in, and this will be our axis value. And then the turning, that would be the yaw. So we right click and type add controller yaw input, and then we will plug this in. And I always like to test things as I build them. That way, if something's not working correctly, we don't have as much stuff to dig through, right? So we're going to save this, and let's go ahead and spawn in here and see if the pitch and the yaw is working. So when we turn left and right, that seems to be working, but when I try to push up and down, it's not pitching the character's view up and down. So let's open this blueprint back up. And believe it or not, this has nothing to do with what we did here. This is a secret setting that we need to change, okay? So I believe it's under the character movement. Maybe it's in the class defaults. Let's go to the class defaults, and let's do a search over here for, let's see. Maybe it's not in here. Maybe it's under the camera boom. It's been a while since I've built something from scratch, so you guys will have to bear with me here. I think it's, I think it might be this one right here. Use pawn control rotation. Do you see this under the camera settings? No, I don't think that is it. But maybe it is, right? So let's just check that true. Compile it and save it, and let's just go back in here and see if that does it. Look at that. So now when we pitch up and down, it actually pitches the view up and down, and then we have our WASD. So the only thing that we actually lack is the space bar for the jump. So let's go back in here into the character blueprint, and we're going to right click, and we're going to type jump. And we need the action event. Make sure you get the action event for jump. And then we're going to right click again and type jump. And we have a function under the character here called jump. And we will plug that in for pressed. And then we're going to right click and type jump again. And then there is also a function called stop jumping. And we will plug that into the released, and we will compile this and save it. We will go test this. And so now when I hit the space bar, you can see that the character jumps, and we have WASD movement, and we can pitch up and down. So now we have a character that can actually move around. And so I'm going to break these videos apart into sections. So this is section 1, where we have a character that we can move around into the game. And we will start in the next video. What we're going to do is start working on getting the animations of the character to go, right? So when he goes forward, he moves, he's animated instead of just being in here in this A pose. So for the sake of time and to keep these things short and organized, I'm going to break these apart in sections for the most part. So we got a character that can move around. Obviously, the next question is, so how do we make him animated? And that will be answered in the next video. So I thank you guys very much, and we will see you in the next video. Thank you.